This is lesson 1, an experience in relationships as measuring rate. All right, first thing, key terms from grade 6, ratios and unit rates. A ratio is an ordered pair of numbers which are not both zero. A ratio is denoted A:B to indicate the order of numbers. The number A is first and the number B is second. It can also be written as, for example, 2:3, 2:3, and 2/3 as a fraction. We're going to be using it more as a fraction than anything else. Two ratios, A:B and C:D, are equivalent. If there is a non-zero number, C, such that C equals CA and D equals CB. For example, two ratios are equivalent if they both have values that are equal. For example, 1/2 is equal to 2/4 because 2/4 can simplify to 1/2. A ratio relationship between two types of quantities, such as 5 miles per 2 hours, can be described as a rate. For example, the quantity 2.5 miles per hour. The numerical part of the rate is called the unit rate. And is simply the value of the ratio, in this case, 2.5. This means that in 1 hour, the car travels 2.5 miles. The unit for the rate is miles per hour, in red, miles per hour. In other words, to find the unit rate, we want to know how much for 1. Or 1 has to be in the denominator. So, example 1, how fast is our class? If we're passing papers back for 24 of them, and we do it in 12 seconds, the ratio then, papers to time, would be 24 over 12. And then if we divide 24 by 12, we would get 2 papers per second. The unit rate would be 2. If we then did the papers by time, and we did pass the 24 in 11 seconds, we then would have 2.2 papers per second, or a unit rate of 2.2. If we pass them back in 10 seconds, we'd have papers over time. And we would have 24 over 10, or 2.4 papers per second. Or 2.4. And last, if we did it in 8 seconds, we'd have papers over time. (24 over 8). Or 3 seconds, or 3 papers, per second, which would be 3 for our unit rate. Next, each class would be different that we did in class. But for class 2, if we were to compare our ratios from boys to girls on this chart, would be 12 over 10. And for the whole 7th grade here that has 120 over 106 would be 120 to write it as a fraction, and the 106 would be in the denominator. Therefore, to create a pair of equivalent ratios by making a comparison of quantities discussed in this example, we would have 12 over 10. We can multiply by 2 for 24 over 20, and then by 3, 36 over 30. So example 3 for unit rates. To find a unit rate, we would simply divide. So to do the following questions on the homework, this is what I would like to see. Adrian biked 24 miles in 3 hours. If she biked at a constant speed, how many miles did she ride in 1 hour? Well, because we want to know how much for 1 hour, hours has to be on the bottom. So our units is hours first on the bottom, hours, and we need miles. Miles would be on top. So the first thing that you need to have on your homework is what your units are, this right here. The second thing is the numbers. So your numbers are 24 and 3. So 24, to write it as a fraction, 24 over 3. And we're going to divide that, but you need to divide it and have it over 1. So 24 divided by 3 would be 8 over 1. I want you to understand that we want to know how much for 1. So it would be 8 miles for 1 hour, and that's what we're showing. Sorry. So we're showing 8 miles for 1 hour, and that would then simplify to the simple number of 8. So our next one then would be for Julia, who reads 52 pages in 2 hours. So here we want to know what is the average number of pages she reads per hour. Because it's for each hour, hour has to go in the denominator, and the numerator would be pages. So we have 52 divided by 2, which would be 26 over 1, which would be 26. And that is our unit rate. Our next example is example 4, which we are comparing to find which is the better buy. So to find the better buy here, it says Value Mart is advertising a back-to-school sale on pencils. A pack of 30 sells for $7.97, whereas 12-pack of the same brand is $4.77. Which is the better buy, and how you know? In this particular case, we need to find out how much it is for each pencil. So what you normally have is whenever you are talking about money, money always goes on top and everything else goes on the bottom. So we want the pencils on the bottom. So in this case, we have $7.97 over 30 and $4.77 over 12. When we divide them, we have 0.2656 repeating, and that rounds to, because it's pennies and cents to 27 cents. For the $4.77, it's 0.3975, and it's going to round to 40 cents. So this is our better buy. So the $7.97 for the pack of 30 is the better buy. Because it is cheaper per pencil. Now in our next example, Cheryl wants to buy some peanut butter to donate to the local food pantry. Cheryl wants to buy as much peanut butter as possible. Which brand should she buy? Well, again, we need to compare. So we are going to compare the dollars per ounce. So we can figure out which brand is going to be the better one. So we have $2.19 for 12, $2.79 for 18, $4.69 for 28, and $6.60 for 40. Well, when we divide each of these, for the first one, we have 18.18, 25, which will round to 18 cents per ounce. For the 279, we have 0.155, which will round to 16 cents an ounce. Then we have the 469, which is 0.1675, which will round to 17 cents an ounce. And the last one is 0.165, which will round to 0.17, or 17 cents an ounce. So in this case, this one is cheaper, which is our grandma's. So Cheryl should buy grandma's because it is cheaper per ounce. And this ends our lesson.